Hello, my name is Matthew. I think I'm dying. Actually, I'm pretty sure I'm dying. I have some rather severe injuries, long-standing injuries, and recent injuries. I don't think there's any necessity for me to die, but I think the medical establishment in the United Kingdom has decided it's easier for them if I do, so they're not going to help me. This is not a new problem. It's been ongoing for 20 years or so. I realised in about 2004, maybe 5, what was wrong with me physically, and it was a little bit complicated, but not rocket science. It was understandable. There were various investigations done at the time. All of them were positive. They found the things that I said were wrong. And yet the medical establishment refused to look at the big picture and see that there was a bigger truth as to how my body was responding to early trauma. And at that stage it was completely a solvable problem. It could have been healed, and I could have spent the last 20 years of my life living life and being creative and doing positive things. And I haven't. I've spent the last 20 years of my life, yes, doing some of that, but largely being handicapped as a result of failure to diagnose and treat my problems. And so now I'm here at the age of 58 in a hospital in Torbay in Devon. I'll show you out the window. It's a rather pretty sunset that's been happening out there. I've been here for 4 weeks. Well, it'll be 4 weeks on Monday. Today is Friday. Today is Friday the 11th of July. Monday will be Monday the 14th. And that will mark that I've been here 4 weeks. The hospital's made no progress in understanding what's wrong with me. I've told them what's wrong with me. I've described in detail what's wrong. I've given them an output from an AI that took in all of the details of medical history and told them what they needed to look for, and it was right. I know what's wrong with me, and the AI was right. And the doctors have chosen to ignore it. British medicine is very, very corrupt. The NHS will not get better until doctors are held to account on a regular basis. Surgeons and doctors need to have almost like Trustpilot ratings. Now, if somebody regularly fucks up a colonoscopy or a minor surgery or a big surgery, that should be reflected, and not just when their colleagues decide it's got bad enough that they have to get rid of them. Like Shipman, who killed how many people? Lots of people. This is part of a bigger corruption in society where we allow institutions, regimes, in the political science sense of those words, where we place the ongoing continuity of a regime of power in society above individuals and above individual rights. That's the beginning of fascism, that's the beginning of authoritarianism, that's the beginning of totalitarianism. It's the beginning of the individual not mattering, the individual being an expendable, especially if it saves the institution. And as my web host said in 2006, the first time the British medical establishment tried to remove my website from the internet, he said his dad had worked in the NHS all his life. And one thing he said that was, doctors always stick together no matter the situation. And then he linked to the article I'd discovered that it meant my website was trying to be taken down. And he said, whatever the truth of the situation here, regardless of any negligence or otherwise, it does appear that the doctors are trying to protect themselves rather than right any wrong. So I've lived with a disabled body for 20 years, becoming more and more disabled, more and more dysfunctional in my ability to cope with daily tasks. Lots of muscles failing, whole areas of my body failing. I'm actually surprised I made it this long, given the injury burden. And I don't know how much longer I'll make it. But one thing I did decide is I'm not going to go down without a fight. Because fuck that shit. Patriarchy is what's killing our planet, it's what's ruining our climate, it's why politics doesn't work, it's why women get raped, it's why I got raped as a baby, where the first injuries that are causing me problems came from. All of my injuries, all of that was totally solvable. For 20 years I suffered medical bullshit, negligence and gaslighting, and some really constructive denial of care. So I'm going to try, before I die, to make a video log and to write articles about everything that happened to me, everything I've learned about medicine, about physiology, about society, and what we can learn about how to make the world a better place. Because I do think I've learned some things. I was quite a messed up kid in a lot of ways. It's not a surprise. I was sexually abused for many years of my childhood. That leaves a mark. But I worked really hard to overcome that. I lived for a few years in Buddhist meditation centers. I worked to grow compassion and wisdom in my actions, in my behaviors towards other people. I didn't always succeed. I'm not perfect. I don't deserve what's happening to me. I kind of came to terms with the fact that I'm going to die of this. I had 2 conversations with doctors today. The first one begged me to stay in the hospital. The second one said he saw no reason for me to stay because they're not helping, and they won't help was the implication. And I might look healthy sat here right now. I have internal injuries, and the internal injuries have eaten away from the inside. Physical injuries, they've eaten away muscle groups failing, compensations happening. It's become very difficult. I don't think I've got long to live. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. But with whatever time I've got left, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that the people who did this to me never do it to anyone else. It is criminal that a closed shop of people too dumb to see their own blindness are allowed to do this. I'm going to also tell some funny stories along the way, hopefully. I don't know if I'm going to get downstairs next time I try, but I'll try. I'll try and tell some funny stories along the way. I've got some amusing anecdotes from life. I've lived a good life. Despite my childhood, I lived a good life. I went to university, I studied maths and physics, I became a stockbroker, I managed ski resorts in France. I lived in Buddhist meditation centers. I traveled the world. I tried to be a kind and good person. We need a world of kind and good people, not selfish people. If we continue on this path of selfishness, we continue to runaway climate warming, and we have no idea what that means. We really don't know what that means. The science is not good enough to tell us. Once you push a complex system like the atmosphere, the climate, the environment beyond certain limits, you might start a process that is irreversible, that leads initially in a direction of maybe warming. But that may not end up as being warming. It may end up as being boiling, or it may end up as being freezing, because it triggers all kinds of other processes which are interconnected. There's this thing called the three-body problem in physics, where two bodies are revolving around each other. That's entirely predictable, totally predictable. Three, once you get three revolving, you can't tell anymore what's going to happen. It's the nature of the beast. We're playing dangerous games with climate to keep the structure of society the same as it's been for about 6,000 years, with some men ruling over other men and women, raping other men and women, controlling other men and women, just so that their children can also take a powerful role in society, controlling and raping and abusing and extracting from other men and women. I want to hold to account the doctors from the NHS who have done this to me. I also want to hold to account the men in society who have done this to you, who have done this to the climate, who don't care. They don't care at all for other people. They only care for their power. It gets reciprocated into smaller pockets of knowledge, like the medical field, where doctors feel very under pressure because you've got lots of systemic pressures, monetary pressures on the system. The pressure of the internet and people being more informed has made doctors feel less powerful. And now you've got artificial intelligence, which threatens a lot of the work doctors do. A lot of what they do is this sort of pattern recognition that artificial intelligence is very good at. Nobody should feel threatened. Nobody should. I shouldn't feel threatened. I shouldn't feel that I'm going to lose my life because it's inconvenient for some people to save it. Doctors shouldn't feel that it's okay to let me lose my life because it's inconvenient for some of their colleagues if they save it. Nobody should ever feel oppressed by the society in which we live. And yet we do, because we've had the same ancient power structures about 6,500 years, thereabouts, maybe a bit longer. And those power structures are oppressive. And we need to change this world so that we live in a world of freedom, bounty, creativity, love and caring. And I know that's possible. In fact, I thoroughly believe that is the next step for humankind, the next step for human evolution, to move beyond what we have currently manifested and move to a place of great warmth and kindness towards each other and harmony and living together. I hoped I was going to see it. It doesn't look like I am. But I can leave a legacy of sorts, and I will do that. I'll put this up on YouTube, I'll put this up on Facebook, I'll put it anywhere I can. I hope to say some interesting things at some point, maybe some wise things and some funny things, because life is an interesting thing. It's an interesting experience. My life has not all been lovely. It's been really terrifically painful. And it's been beautiful. And we can all have beautiful lives.